I started modeling when I was 16 years old and I started facing a lot of rejection there. It's all about determination because I would go home and cry into a pillow. I would be like, I didn't get cast and they didn't like me. But I would still go back the next day for an audition. I always was that independent person ki like, okay, theek hai, I don't know this, I will learn about it. No, I don't want to be fake. If you like me, great, follow me. If you don't like me, unfollow me. It's fine.
Amyra Dastur is someone who started her career as a model and then, is into films. Today, you're a brand ambassador for makeup, skincare, even a juice brand. She is loved. She is, of course, a loved actor. She has a solid fan base and an insane 3.5 million followers on Instagram. Amyra, thank you for speaking to us. You will give us a very interesting and a different insight, which I think a lot of us, women leaders and entrepreneurs would be very keen to understand. Firstly, I want to ask that you've come from a very non-filmy family. Your father's a doctor, and your brother's a chef. Yeah. Wow. And so tell me, how did the filmy Kida, as they say, get to you? And we talked about support for women when they have like slightly off, different kind of dreams that people don't understand. What was the sort of support that you got from your family and friends? And were you also told, ki ye kya, come on, study medicine, CPMT though?
So I was actually a very good student in school, incidentally, because like I said, Dad was a surgeon. He was the medical director of a hospital. Now he's retired. My mom's also an English major and a history major. So we're a very educated family. Like, for mom and dad, education was always priority. And it was quite a shock for my father, especially when I said, like, I know I studied for so many years and all, but I want to get into acting. And my mother was the most supportive out of everybody. There was even a choice where I had to either finish school or choose my first film. And my mom, without even asking me, said she'll do the film. We'll make sure she finishes her 12th standard somewhere else. And she did make sure I did that. But I think that takes guts. As a parent, somebody who cherishes education over everything, for my mother to have done that for me, I mean, I owe it to her. Like, this was because of my mother.
No, absolutely, and you're right in saying that because credit jai na jai mothers ko, if your child is off track, mothers are the one who have to take the brunt for it. But, again, bringing you back to when you got your first break, and just like entrepreneurship, I think filmy, the career in films, also you have to face a lot of rejections. How did you handle rejections, and what was it like? What were the struggles starting out as an actor?
I don't think you realize when you're getting into the industry, especially being an outsider, that it's not as glamorous, it's not as amazing as you think it is in your head. So that glass ceiling shattering for me at the age of 16, because I started modeling when I was 16 years old, and I started facing a lot of rejection there. People would say I was too thin, then it would be, no, she's too fat, no, she's too fair, no, she's like dark. So it depends on what brands were looking for. It depends on how they were casting. It was just never good enough. And, after a point, I realized that I'll never be good enough for some people. And I just won't. And that's okay. Yeah. Because here, it's like, I've still worked with a Garnier. I've still worked with a L'Oreal at the end of the day. Yeah. So it will happen. It may not happen right now, but sometimes it's just you get put in front of the wrong people at the wrong time. Yeah. And then you manage to get into the right people at the right time. But it's all about determination, because I would go home and cry into a pillow. I would be like, I didn't get cast and they didn't like me. Yeah. But I would still go back the next day for an audition. Yeah. And that is what's important. And I think as women, we have that in us. We keep going back and keep going back and keep going back for more. Because, I mean, if you're not going to do it, no one's going to do it for you.
No one's going to do it. Yeah, and because the rest of them are waiting for you to fail, yeah? Amyra, as women and as girls, even when we are growing up, we're not really taught to handle money. People don't tell us where you should invest, how you should be saving, what you should be doing with your money, because I think nobody expects us to earn a lot of money. So, what I want to know is that when the films and when these big brands started coming in, what was it like for you in terms of, handling money, where to invest? Were you good at it, or did it take learning?
No, not at all. My dad follows the stock market. I know about it now because now I've actually really delved into it. But it took me about a good 5 to 10 years to still understand it, understand which sites to go on, understand what to read, understand how, basically global politics affects our country and what is going to go up and go down in terms of the market. So I feel as women, it's a necessity for you to learn that because, I remember, and my father is a little arrogant. Like, see, I'm the firstborn daughter, so me and him keep clashing, and I love him to death.
Yeah.
But, for him, it was just like, you don't need to know about it. And I think it's very easy for men to do that, especially with women, because it's like he was handling it. So he's like, why do you need to know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, but it's my money.
Yeah.
As much as I trust you, I love you, and you have to look into it.
Yeah.
You cannot be this oblivious princess and be like, nahi, papa is taking care of my accounts. No.
Yeah. Or husbands for that matter.
Or husbands at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So for me, I always was that independent person ki like, okay, theek hai, I don't know this, I will learn about it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel stupid to admit that I don't know things. For me, I think it's very nice to be vulnerable and to say, listen, I don't understand this, can you explain? So I think as women, yes, it's okay to not know something, but then when you realize that this is something you lack, I think you should learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about financial independence, I think it is very important not just to earn money for us women, but also to know where our money is going and how we can make our money work for us. So good learning for you, Amyra. Coming to, you as a brand ambassador for the brands, how do you choose, do you, and what is it that you bring to the table for the brands? How does celebrity endorsement actually work for a lot of our, entrepreneurs here who have great products and possibly to look at, marketing them or to, expand their reach? What is it that they should keep in mind, from if they're looking at a celebrity endorsement?
So, over the last few years, one thing I've noticed is everything is digitalized now. I mean, Instagram is the platform to be on when it comes to marketing a product.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to keep a very good following. That means you have to keep your followers very engaged because today we all get bored, honestly speaking. Even I scroll through Instagram endlessly. So for me, it's always about what extra thing do you bring? What is that factor that you bring when you are promoting your brand? And especially with me and when I take on collaborations and brand promotions, I actually sit with the people and we discuss different ways we can promote the brand. Sometimes they want a generic way and that's totally fine, that's on them. But then sometimes like me and my team come up with creative ideas like, okay, Amyra's very into fitness, so maybe we can incorporate the skincare with her fitness routine. Because it's also very personal then.
Yeah.
Like my fans know, ki, okay, Amyra likes going hiking, Amyra likes doing this, she likes doing that. So when I incorporate the product in my daily routine, it's actually natural, it's organic.
Yeah.
And that's what really does well. That's something that I've noticed through my Instagram with my followers. Now, for other people, it may be different. Like, what do people engage on? So you have to do all of that research. You have to keep checking in with your followers. You have to do Ask Me Anything. You have to see what they like, the kind of questions they ask.
Yeah.
So especially my followers are very big on my skincare secrets. They're very, like, anytime I do an Ask Me Anything, I'll get about 100 questions just saying, can you explain your routine? So from that way, I start building and I build to see what they like, and I show them the products I'm using. So they kind of stay with you and you build a community. And I think that's very important today because that's what social media does. You want to build your community. You want your community to grow with you.
Yeah, yeah. And I see your Instagram and I see that sometimes you're goofy, sometimes, you're quite authentic in that sense. You're not afraid to put out a very, it's not a very polished version of you. Is that something that you think works for your 3.5 million followers? And is that something that makes you a good, viable ambassador for a lot of brands?
For me, I grew up in school when I was in town. I actually got bullied very badly. I never looked like this, Like I went to boarding school, I stayed with girls, and they actually dolled me up. I was a tomboy. And I've seen it both ways, and I've seen it what it's like when, you're not attractive to people. And I've seen what it's like, okay, when you become glamorous and how people sort of appreciate you more because ultimately you're drawing people in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I've noticed and that's something that I always carry with me in my Instagram because for me, it's like, No, I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be polished. I want to be myself. If you like me, great, follow me. If you don't like me, unfollow me. It's fine, you know, but I will be true to myself. It's my Instagram page. It's my social media, not yours.
There are so many celebrities, so many of your colleagues who are launching their businesses. You know, does that sort of appeal to you? Is that something that you have in mind?
So I'm actually working on something. Something very, very interesting in the apparel department.
Okay.
And we are going to launch something April, May. So it's only about 2 months away. So I'm very excited because, you know, I feel once you've built that following, once you've reached that goal, I think you can do more with it. And I want to do more with it. I don't want to be just a pretty face. I don't want to be just a model. I want to make something and sell something to my followers that I care about, that I think they'll also really love.
Finally, you know, you see so many of these women entrepreneurs. A lot of them have successful businesses. A lot of them have overcome so many challenges. You know, there are prejudices, there are lack of support, there's lack of funding, there is so many other things. Does that, you know, impress you that we have a room full of them, despite all of these odds, you know, fighting for every opportunity, fighting to make their businesses big? Just what is going to be your, you know, sort of message to them?
I'm going to be in the same group as you guys soon, so I'm very scared. But yeah, I think it's amazing because I really feel when women pool together, and especially when women drive businesses, there's just a different aura. And like I said, my dad used to work a lot, so my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My sisters used to help my mom out when it came to raising me and my brother, my cousin sisters. So I've always had very, very strong women around me. And I love seeing that. I love seeing a room full of strong women. I love seeing a room full of smart women. And, you know, I really hope to be sitting at that table next year.
Next year, the nominations are going to be open next year, Amyra. And, you know, we have a fantastic jury every year. We put together, hopefully some of the jury members will stick around. But it is going to be a great platform for some of the best businesses to be honored. This is a plug for Womenpreneur Awards 2026, guys. With that, it's a wrap-up. Thank you so much, Amyra, for speaking to us.